Alright, this is like the 4th or 5th try at this video. We're really having Mercury retrograde problems today. This camera is just suddenly acting up like crazy. It suddenly objected to a card that I've been using for years. And now, then it wouldn't focus on anything, then it was super zoomed in. So it's trying to drive me crazy. But I do have an otherwise quiet moment here in the garden with the very noisy neighbors to the south are not home. So I'm out here recording. And what you're looking at is Mad Hatter pepper, which is also known as orchid pepper. I managed to find one of these this year at Home Depot. So I will be growing it. It's at the far end of the garden here. And many people at work love this pepper. I'm not real fond of them myself, but I didn't think I'd be growing any this year because there was such competition at the garden centers for plants. Almost nothing was left, but I managed to find one at a Home Depot in the last week. So there's my orchid pepper. Over there, I'm almost afraid to zoom. This camera isn't really strange today. This is an Atlantic giant pumpkin that I also bought from a garden center. And that is a Maxima, different species of pumpkin than your ordinary jack-o'-lantern. That's a giant pumpkin. I understand most of the winners at county fairs are related to Atlantic giants, so that's not what I'm going for, though. Just a big jack-o'-lantern would be fine. And you're looking here at Renegade. There are 8 Renegade plants. The biggest one is over here. Goodness gracious. There, I'm just falling all over the place today. There. And they have not bloomed yet. They won't bloom for a few weeks, I don't think. Oh, there's one of my patented tomato plants. That's a large cherry tomato that comes up here every year. These Renegades I started indoors in peat pots, and the soil was a seed starting soil that had nitrogen in it. So I'm going from that to a fertilizer with no nitrogen in it, and we'll see if that works. If they start getting weak or anything like that, I'm going to buy some sea kelp or fertilizer, I forget what they call Alaska something or other. And I'll use a little bit of that. But I did go to pick up a fertilizer with low nitrogen today, and instead I grabbed one with no nitrogen, which I will show you. And it may be an issue, but I don't think it will be. Here are beefsteak tomatoes. We got 3 of these, and I'm growing them primarily for the food pantry, but also for friends and neighbors. And there's that might be a big beef coming up there at the base of the tomato bed. Got a salad garden here. This is garden salsa, which is a mildly hot pepper, and it's getting ready to bloom. And there is my Rosa Bianca eggplant. And here's Big Beef. Big Beef has 2 tomatoes on it. But I'm not too excited because even though they formed in mid-June, they won't ripen until the end of July at the earliest. Where are those little thingies? Right there. So, yeah, I do like my Big Beef plants. And over here, We have Space Master bush cucumber. Gotta be thinned. Radishes. Gotta be thinned. I did thin them, but I'm going to have to dump some potting soil on them and thin them again. And we've got all kinds of half-long carrots coming up here. And, oh yeah, this little guy here. This is, remember last year, if you watched me, I had an heirloom tomato come up out of the blue, and I'm hoping this is it. I didn't manage to save the seeds. It was a smaller tomato, and it was growing about there. There's a couple of them here. So I'm going to try to nurse them along and see if that's what they are. I got a weed, so no remarks about that. I got a weed. I know it's over here. Is a little pepper plant that's called Mucho Nacho, and Mucho Nacho is an extra large jalapeno. One website claimed, and I think also the ID card on the plant claimed that they are more spicy than your average jalapeno. But another 3 websites claim that it is less spicy. So we shall see. I may be able to use them after all. Got a lot of tomatoes coming up here. So as long as they're out of the way, I'll let them come up, and I'd especially like to have that heirloom back, because I haven't seen that in any catalog. I don't know where that came from. I certainly never grew it. So what else do we got? Weeds. A lot of weeds. A lot of heat. It's going to be a hot summer, they're saying, which means it's probably going to be cold, but we'll see. Over here we got our potatoes chugging away here. They were a little weak until I threw some of that seed soil on them, and now they're growing like crazy. But it may not have been a wise thing to do because of the nitrogen in there. We'll see. And we got these Pike's Peak, I hope, sunflowers. 4 of them. This one's doing the best. So those can get to be about 12 to 15 feet tall. Excuse me. Got a little frog today. Of course, if you listen to me for years, you know I have a little frog all the time. And what else was I going to show you this week? New hosta. I am replenishing my hostas here. That is, I don't know, drinking gourd? Drinking gourd. So that's going in today. And we've got a little bit of snow on the mountain here, which is going to go bye-bye. Snow on the mountain is very persistent until about July, and then it gives up. But it comes back the next year and you have to start pulling it out again. So, here we go. Someone asked me why I don't want it, because they sell it in garden centers. They sell lots of things in garden centers that they shouldn't. This is extremely invasive, and when I moved in here, it was all over the place. It was just covering the entire north side of the house. So, yeah, I want to get rid of it. It's very, very hard to get rid of. It's been outlawed in a few U.S. states, and once our governor has other things to think about other than coronavirus, I'm going to write him a letter and ask him that it be outlawed in Illinois, because it's even invaded the forest preserve across the street. It's just bad news. Not a good ground cover. But the rest of the stuff you see here is good ground cover. It goes anywhere. It's all over my property. It grows in the shade. It grows in the sun. And if you pull some out while weeding, it'll come right back. It's not sensitive. It survives any kind of weather. So some kind of succulent. Pretty nice. Little flowers on it. So anyway, this I gotta get rid of. It's a dogwood, and we chopped it down a couple years ago, came back. Just a pain in the butt, so I'm going to have to saw it down again. And here are my other new hostas, Fire Island and Schoolmouse, that one. So those just went in. The rest of these have been here for ages before I moved in. So yeah. So I'm gonna do, once it cools down a bit, I'm gonna be out here weeding and putting down some more cardboard. The parts of the garden that are exposed, where we do not have paper, like over there, I'm just going to try to keep weeded, because it is better for the pumpkins when they start crawling. They put roots down along their vines, so they'll have an easier job if there's no paper in the way. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you next week.